Right then, that 1-1 draw with Ipswich taught us quite a lot, I think, about Amorim's headspace coming into this monumental job that he's taken on. There's been some really interesting clips that we've been seeing from the sideline as he's been trying to encourage and cajole the players. Monday Night Football, and actually Jamie Carragher Whisper It, did a really good job looking at some of the different aspects of it. So I think there's some players that are going to sink and there's some players that are going to swim in this formation. So I think it's only right that we analyse, take a bit of a deep look at this. And today I'm going to look at the 3 players that I do think will succeed under Ruben Amorim and 3 players that I think are going to struggle. These days, everything that we do is online, from entertainment to work to holiday shopping and staying in touch. But being online means it comes with risks to your privacy and data. And that's why Surfshark's VPN is an absolute must-have. And the best part, right now, for Black Friday, you can get 4 months extra of Surfshark for free. Just go over to surfshark.com/Howson for this unbeatable holiday offer, but it's limited, so you're going to have to act fast. With Surfshark, you'll be protected. It hides your IP address and encrypts your connection, giving you the secure access to global content no matter where you are. You want to stream from the UK, the US, beyond? Just choose your virtual location with a simple click, and thanks to Surfshark's no-log policy, your browsing activity stays private. One account will cover all your devices, from laptops, phones, tablets, you name it, you're always protected. And Surfshark's clean web feature means that annoying ads and trackers are gone. It's a cleaner, safer, smoother experience. Take advantage of this incredible Black Friday pricing right now at surfshark.com/Howson and get 4 extra months of Surfshark for free. And they've got a 30-day money back, so there is absolutely no reason not to try it. Thanks to Surfshark, as always, for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description or head over to surfshark.com/Howson to start your safe and unrestricted browsing today. Now, there's probably no surprises for guessing, because I've been absolutely waxing lyrical about this kid all season, actually. And the first name on my list is Amad Diallo. And I think he's probably going to be on a lot of other people's lists as well, because I think it's undoubted he's going to succeed in Amorim's United. Against Ipswich, it was a bit of a surprise package. I'm not sure many of us expected him to fulfill that wing-back role. And I'm not sure if him as a player is entirely a surprise package. He played as a right wing-back and he bossed it. 1v1, he was unplayable. He tracked back sensationally. And he always wins his duels. That's something that you've noticed if you look at the data from him for this year. He has absolutely crushed it in terms of his duels, his dribble success, all that sort of stuff. So he actually really does suit that wing-back role very well. I still personally think he'd be played better on the sort of right side number 10 role, but we can get into that at another time. As a right wing-back, I think he really fits a lot of positives for Ruben Amorim. And I think he wants to prove Erik ten Hag's decision to sort of play in sparingly as being quite a wrong one. Now, like I said, long term, I'm unsure if the plan will be for him to remain as a right wing back on a permanent basis, especially when he's got the likes of Diallo, the likes of Mazraoui that you think could probably feature there and do a pretty good job. But we do know that Amorim has got the skill set to transform a right winger into a deadly right wing back, as he did with Quenda. So, my take personally, I prefer him in the attacking midfield role. The sort of number 10 playing off the striker. I think he's shown at Sunderland he can play that role really well. And I think his dribbling and his creativity in that area offers us something different. But I wouldn't be mad at seeing him in that role on a long-term basis. I think he could do a really good job in that. But I would also, rather than just thinking purely about him, I want to think about, where the hell does Mazraoui fit into this? Because I think him and Mazraoui, they're 2 players that I would love to keep around in the squad permanently because of the sort of maturity and the intelligence that they play with. So I would always sort of think about where Amad fits with a little bit of an eye on, does that block Mazraoui's route into the team if we played him there? And I think if you played Mazraoui as a right wing-back and you had Amad in front of him, I think that'd be a really, really good, potent mix on the right-hand side. Which would mean the third person on the right-hand side, probably, would be Lenny Yoro. Now, his development at United seems absolutely tailor-made for Ruben Amorim to come in. His game time under Ten Hag was... it was none. And actually, it was under question. There was so many of us, especially the way we saw De Ligt and Martinez play, and then even Johnny Evans to a greater or lesser degree. Where the hell does Yoro fit into this? And we never got to answer the question, because the way he's going to fit into it, as one of the 3 centre-backs, is where he's going to fit into it. And you go, sound. Martinez, De Ligt, Yoro is a fantastic back three. On paper, at least. We don't know if it actually works as a back three, but on paper, it's a sensational back three. Under Amorim, he's going to play. And he obviously likes 3 centre-halves. What you want from a wide centre-half is someone that's going to be able to cover into that wide space. And Lenny Yoro is tailor-made for that right side centre-half spot. He's going to get minutes. He's obviously clearly highly rated by the new gaffer. Wes Brown has called him a difference maker. And he's got all of the tools to succeed, not just as a centre-half in the Premier League, but as a centre-half in a 3 in a Ruben Amorim system. They've been working closely together so far by the sounds of things. It's just a case now of let us see him and let's see what he can do. And then the third one that I think I'm more hoping he can succeed than I'm sitting here telling you he's going to succeed. Because if he doesn't succeed, we're in the shit. And that's Rasmus Hojlund. Now, what we saw from Hojlund in the short cameo was all right. It was decent. It was more impressive than Marcus Rashford, at least for the short time that he had on the field. We identified Hojlund being a potential benefactor of Amorim's appointment. Because he's going to have players more close to him than he has had as a forward in Manchester United in his time so far. When he came on with a bit of a hunger and a determination that just wasn't there when Rashford played. The channel running from him was top. His decision-making was pretty good. And he looked like he'd improved a little bit from the last time that we saw him. If he can continue to improve, he can lead the line for Manchester United. There's no doubts about that whatsoever. And I think he can score the goals. Can he get to being a 25 to 30 goal a season striker? We don't know. He does have the potential to do that, but potential doesn't always get realised. It's not linear and it's not a guarantee. I think he could do, but I'm less certain about him being the success and more hopeful that he's the success we think he can be versus how sure I'm going to be for Lenny Yoro and for Amad Diallo. Now, in terms of the ones that are going to struggle, someone that's not had a good start to life at Manchester United, and there's a part of me that goes, do you know what? It's too early to write anybody off, especially with a new gaffer coming in. But I think Joshua Zirkzee is going to struggle under the new regime. Now, obviously, they both came on at the same time. The difference in the impact was laughable, actually. Now, Zirkzee, you could maybe argue, was played out of position, but he's not going to play as the number 9 in this system because of the way this system works. There was way more chance of him playing as the number 9 in a 4-2-3-1 system than there is in this sort of system. He's probably going to have to feature as one of the 10s off the striker. And now on paper, you go, okay, that I could see that working. You could see Bruno and Zirkzee maybe playing off a Hojlund in theory. But when you see how much Ruben Amorim favours someone that's going to press, it doesn't appear to have the dynamism and the speed to play that system for Ruben Amorim. He's far too slow. A lot of his passes seemed lazy, but they probably weren't lazy. They were probably just misplaced. Attacks seemed to break down around him because of that. Amorim seems to like complete forwards. You think about what you're getting with Gyökeres, and even to a certain degree what you're getting with Hojlund. Zirkzee's not that kind of forward. He was the plan B that suited Erik ten Hag, looking to maybe bring someone on as a game changer late on in a game. He was brought in to create balance. He now offers a balance that you don't need or want. If he's going to succeed, Amorim's going to have to really tinker with his style of play, and he's going to have to adapt to an entirely new role and a new way of playing it. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Now, one of the people that we did see heavily featured in the Monday Night Football thing was Casemiro. And it was a toss-up, really, right now for going between Eriksen or Casemiro. But I've gone with Casemiro, this time around a little bit. And I think for a lot of reasons, I think he can still do a serviceable job alongside the new Ugarte, but long term, and it's also unfair to base everything just off the one game for him as well, and a couple of training sessions. But I saw a lot of what we needed to see. Casemiro and Eriksen were far too central, too vertical, too static to operate as that too in midfield, they have to cover a lot more ground. The sort of ground that you think Mainu can probably cover and Ugarte can absolutely cover. Eriksen and Casemiro really did not look capable. And actually, the Monday Night Football footage as well, I'll see if we can include some of it in here, even if it's just a screenshot where you could see Amorim was encouraging him to push up, and Casemiro constantly just referencing the bench. Didn't know what he was doing, wasn't confident in what he was doing, unsure of what he was doing, and it also felt, I'm going to be honest with you, a little bit reluctant to do what he was being asked to do. You know, he doesn't run anywhere near the level that you're going to get with the guy. It's not his game. His counter-pressing doesn't exist, to be honest with you. I think there's room for him to play. There's room for him off the bench. There's room for him in Europe for sure. Ugarte is going to become an absolute ever-present. He's going to play every game and all 90 minutes of those games. I think as this season develops, you're going to see Mainu more. And you might even see Bruno in there as well, depending on what they do with the likes of Rashford, Zirkzee, etc., and Mason Mount. I think there's a way that Mason Mount and Bruno and Ahmad all play behind Hojlund. Bruno alongside Ugarte with Mount and Ahmad just behind the striker. I think that has got more chance than us ever seeing Eriksen and Casemiro ever again. And then the third one is Garnacho. Now, this feels quite a sliding doors pivotal moment for Garnacho with the new manager. He's only young, and there is obviously room to grow, and he does have potential, and there's a lot of good traits about Garnacho. People are saying I've got an agenda against him. I've never had an agenda against any player. I just talk about what I see on the pitch, and if you disagree, then I have an agenda. If you agree, you don't see a problem with it. But I feel like I analyse all the players to the same level of degree. And the funny one with Garnacho is that I think he's naturally a wide winger. He relishes the starting wide on the touchline and looking to try and take people on from those areas. The problem is he was still trying to do that against Ipswich and he looked off it. And it's frustrating to see how many chances he wastes because of the terrible decision-making. And there's no stat for terrible decision-making because sometimes you can complete a pass, but it was the wrong pass. And sometimes you can have a shot, but there was 3 passes on that probably were in a far better chance of scoring. And that's the problem with decision-making. It's so subjective. When I see Mazraoui, when I see Ahmad, I see players that make fantastic decisions. And actually, Christian Eriksen's someone as well whose decision-making usually was fantastic. It was poor against Ipswich. But Garnacho's consistently poor. I think the traits that he has really lend him to being an impact player off the bench at the moment while he learns football. I think he's almost too determined to make something happen. And it comes across as incredibly selfish. Cristiano Ronaldo was the same, but Cristiano Ronaldo was in a team that was winning games. And he was being corrected constantly on the pitch by the likes of Roy Keane and others. Rude was going in hard on him. I do wonder where he fits into this. I don't see him being a 9. I don't think he's got the playmaking ability, and he certainly doesn't have the decision-making to be a 10. And I don't think he's got the defensive attributes to be a wing-back. Whereas I think Marcus at least thinks he's a 10 and probably could play as a 9, even though I think he's going to struggle to start and probably doesn't start for Amorim's sides, if we're being honest with ourselves. I think he is going to have to spend a lot of time on the bench. But Garnacho, I'm not sure where he fits in without a complete change and a development in terms of his mentality or his understanding of football. I don't think he could play in the wing-back area. So he's going to have a real pivotal moment. And I think he's going to be one that struggles. Now, there's 100% way more players that I could have mentioned, but I just thought I'd try and keep it 3. 3 that I think will do well and 3 that I think are going to struggle. And again, a very obvious one, like I said, Christian Eriksen. I also think Marcus Rashford is going to struggle. And the jury's completely out on Anthony. Could be his resurrection. Probably won't be. There's a hell of a lot that he needs to fix, Amorim. But there's some players I think he's going to be able to rely on straight off the bat. And again, I didn't mention Ugarte as one of the ones that I think he's going to be able to rely on, but I think he's going to be one of the ones that he's going to be able to rely on. But let me know your 3 that you think will do well and 3 that you think are going to struggle, and your reasons why, rather than just rather than putting 3 names in. I like to read and I like to see what you guys are saying about it. So let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.